whatever is happening in your life right now where you are like, I am not having peace and I feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere other than where I am right now. This is your wake-up call. You cannot give what you do not have. If you don't have it, you can't give it. Seems like that would be very simple to understand. But today I want to talk to you about how you can't give what you don't have. And I want to break that down for you and what that means as we chat, because it's a thought that I had and I don't even fully know what we're about to talk about today, but it really hit me this morning when I was listening to a Post Malone song. And he was saying like something to the degree of like, I can't give you what I don't have. And it made me think back about my own journey and my present journey of can't give what you don't have. And I remember hearing about this back in the day. It's twofold. You can't give what you don't have, and you can't fill a cup that's already full. Meaning, if I am wanting to be this, like, I think this really stems back from when I was deeply involved in religion and the aspect of love, and you have to give, and you have to nurture, and you have to forgive, and you have to do all of these things for everybody else. But there was really like no emphasis on doing that for yourself first, because from the conditioning that I was under, I was taught that it was bad and selfish and very self-centered to be thinking about yourself. And I realized that so many people struggle with setting boundaries because they think, what is that going to make somebody think of me? And how is that going to make somebody feel? And specifically, if I have this religious title attached to me, in my situation, it was that like, but you're supposed to be a Christian. And the level of thinking is just so low. And the level of belief is so constricted and controlling to feel like I cannot say no or take care of myself or put me first, because that's going to be portrayed as I am a bad person. There was someone who reached out to me last year. It was last year. That I'm a big believer in you are who you hang with. You are who you hang with. We hear it all the time. Like, you're the sum total of the 5 people that you hang with. If you hang with high achievers, you're going to be a high achiever. If you hang out with people who are very health conscious and want to be active and want to take care of their bodies, you're going to be health conscious and active and take care of your body. You're going to look like your friends. My husband and I were at a coffee shop the other day, and he was, excuse me, by the way, I am so filled with mucus right now. So I'm not editing this, just so you know, so prepare your ears. But we were at a coffee shop. I had my back to the people. He was facing the people. And as we left, he said, it was so funny because I looked up at these guys that came in. It was like a big group of guys, and they all looked the same. Their hair was like longer. They had their hats on. All of their hats were very similar. Their jackets were very similar, just different colors. Their shoes were very similar. Like, it just happens. Like, you are inspired by the people that you hang around, and we start to look like those people because that's who we're hanging around. It's where we get our inspiration. It's where we get our ideas. You are fusing together. So all of that to say, I'm a big believer of that. So whenever I'm going to connect with somebody or potentially have a friendship with somebody, any sort of relationship, I look at who are their friends? How do they talk about their friends? What kind of activities are they involved in? And if they do not align with me and my values and where I'm headed in my life, I don't want it. And I don't care if you don't like that. It doesn't matter, because I don't want it anyway. I don't need anything from you. And so somebody reached out to me, and their friend group was just not a good friend group. And I already have had my own experience with them, and I didn't want anything to do with that group. And it was going to cause problems no matter what, because those connections are going to bleed over into other parts of your life. So anyway, I passed on that opportunity to connect, and the person responded and said, I just don't want you to think I'm a bad person. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit, because I was like, why would I think you're a bad person? Like, that, I don't think you're a bad person by who you choose to hang out with. I think that is what fills you up, and that's what you want. Although, as a side note, I don't think that's a lot of times what people want. It's what they're comfortable with, and they don't know how to leave it. So they stick with very toxic relationships and friendships because they're afraid of being alone. And see, you cannot give what you do not have. I've been alone. I let my friends go. I let myself be hated by people. That's like my kryptonite is for people to misunderstand me and not like me and to hate me based on misunderstanding. But I've been in that place enough to where people have hated me and misunderstood me and didn't give me a chance to talk and explain myself because they didn't want to, that I've had to accept it. So I've had that experience before, and I know how to give out of what I have. I know how I'm going to survive. My nervous system doesn't like it, tries to avoid it, but is still going to be okay because we've been through it enough to know that we're going to live and be all right. And so because I know that I can let people walk away and think that I'm a bad person, because I don't freaking care at that point. No, that's contradictory what I just said. But I mean, when I've held my boundaries and you think I'm a bad person and you turn into a psychopath because you were like, well, thinks she's better than everybody else. I don't care because my peace is more important. Because I've experienced peace now, and I've experienced peace by going through hard times. I've experienced peace by keeping my mouth shut when I wanted to just give into the impulse of telling somebody about themselves or publicly blasting organizations that have created extreme injustice in my life. But I don't say anything. I just release it and cry and grieve and feel all the feelings, talk to my close circle, and then go back to my peace, because peace is so important. And once you have truly experienced peace, anything that's not peace will shake you. It will unsettle you. It will make you feel as though something's off. And so, but you got to know how to feel it before you can kind of manage it. And the way we feel that is by removing people, places, and things that make us feel wrong, uneasy, that we have to pretend to be something we're not. And if you've been a puppet your whole life and you've been conditioned your whole life to behave a certain way so that other people will accept you and agree with you and see you as this good person, then you really are not experiencing peace, and you will not experience peace until you're willing to hold those boundaries. So when it comes to you cannot give what you don't have, I want to give peace to others. I want to give support to others. I want to love others. I want to see the best in people. I want to help empower people. And I can do all of these things because I've had to do it with myself first. I've had to forgive myself and love myself and be angry with myself in order to get through what am I actually mad about and what can I do about it to empower myself to not be in a victim mindset and expect the outside world to change for me. What can I do about it? I've sat alone in my closet in the dark many a nights, grieving, face down, bawling, from a somatic standpoint, just letting my whole body shake and move and be to get to a place of peace. So if you are in this new year and you are searching for peace and you feel like you've already brought in these new, like all this old stuff with you, what are you watching? Who are you talking to? What does your TikTok algorithm look like? I was in like a whole doom cycle on TikTok at one point and telling my friend I don't like TikTok because it's just so negative. And she's like, you have been looking at the wrong stuff. So alter your algorithms. You can actually go on TikTok and there's a thing where you can wipe your like algorithm like clean and have it start over and build it the way you want to build it. Like, just like, what are you consuming from your food, from the people, from your entertainment, to the news, to the propaganda that's going on around you at all times? If you are not experiencing the peace, it's because you don't have it. You don't have it, and you don't have it to give. And you can't offer it back to others. You can't bring it into the rooms when you walk into the room because you are so disrupted by who you're allowing to have access to you because you are afraid to upset Aunt Susie or whoever the matriarch, is that what it's called? A matriarch of your family is, who's always told everybody how we're going to do everything. And everybody goes along with what she or he says to do. And then everybody talks shit behind their back because nobody's happy about it. And this can be in any sort of context. So whatever it is, whoever it is that disrupts your peace, if I tell you, tell them no the next time they ask. Next time they say something that's out of pocket or out of line that you don't agree with, ask them to explain a little bit more what they mean by that, because you're trying to understand instead of just like staying quiet because it's going to set them off and I don't want to hear it and blah, 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 blah. So you just take that in for the sake of not hurting their feelings or having them think a certain way or having them blow up on you. We have to think about what we're thinking about. We have to undo conditioning and ways of life because we're trying to keep the peace with so-and-so by sacrificing the peace of our hearts and our energy and our minds for the sake of their peace. You cannot give what you do not have. You, my friend, are not keeping the peace by being quiet and letting this person run all over you. You are not keeping the peace. You are performing to the conditioning that has been bestowed upon you. All right, that's my first rant, my first tangent. Then the other side of that is you can't fill a cup that's already full. Meaning, if somebody ever tries to share their wisdom with you, if anybody is ever trying to share with you about their own experiences and the things that they've been through in their life, and you are immediately resistant to everything because you already know that, you've already been there, you already know how this goes, and you just shut down any opportunity to learn from anybody, you are missing out. You cannot fill a cup that's already full. This is a huge line in Avatar where I think his name is Sully, the guy that was like the actual like human that became the Avatar. The Avatar tribe, the mother was saying, you cannot fill a cup that's already full. And like the spacewalkers or whatever they were called, I haven't seen the movie in a while, but this always stands out to me. Like they're arrogant. They already know. They've already come to take over and do what they want to do based on their own agenda. They are not here to learn. Where you can actually come to your life, show up at your work, show up with people, any sort of interaction that you're having as a student, to always learn and grow. One of the most amazing men I've ever met, Dr. Brooks, Dr. Jason Brooks. If you've known me any amount of time, I always talk about Dr. Brooks. You will always hear about him for the rest of my life. I remember him saying to me back in 2016 when we worked really closely together, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you are not growing, you are dying. I am looking out the back window of my office right now, and there is a tree that is laying down on its side, dead as could be. Back in September, the hurricanes that hit Florida came through the southeast and hit South Carolina, obviously, Asheville, North Carolina, and some parts of Tennessee as well, and some other parts of the United States. But South Carolina got hit. It was so terrifying. It woke us up at like 4 a.m. in the morning. It was chaotic, crazy. And, you know, we come from Tennessee, so we know all about tornadoes and hunkering down in a bathroom. So that's what we did because we didn't know what else to do. It was just like really dangerous winds. We have a tree line on the back of our house, was just knocking trees down left and right. Luckily, a lot of those trees fell backward. All the houses are sitting up towards the front. The trees fell backwards to the side. But this one tree in my neighbor's backyard fell over to the side towards their house, smashed through their fence, smashed through parts of their screened-in back porch, and then landed in our yard. It was the most chaotic and loud noise I've ever heard. It was like crazy. And the feeling, because we were on the ground level of our house and our bathroom is on this side where the tree fell, and we could feel the shock of it all through our whole body. But the point is that it is dead. The roots are out of the ground. And although it's winter right now, and like I'm looking out my window, and the other trees some are dead, like quote unquote dead because of the winter. And then there's some pine trees, so obviously those are still alive. But this tree that is laying with its roots out of the ground is disconnected from the soil, is disconnected from life, has a different look than the trees that just don't have the leaves on them anymore. Those trees are still alive even though they're bare. This tree that I'm looking at in particular is dead. If you are not growing, you are dying. So the question to ask yourself as I leave you today is, what have you been trying to give that you don't have for yourself? Are you trying to give patience and mentorship and leadership in your job or in your communities around you, and you don't even give that to yourself first? It's a lie. You're a fake. You're living in a fake life. You're going through the motions. You're not at peace. And people can feel that in your aura, in your energy, that you're really nice and you say all the right things, but you are so freaking fearful. You're so filled with fear that you're pushing opportunities and really great people away from you because you're not willing to sacrifice your feeling of comfort, or what you think is comfort, safety, for the sake of true peace, being able to evolve and grow and expand at the cost of losing everything that feels safe to you. And is your cup already full? Check your cup. Do you call yourself a student of life? Do you say you're willing to learn from somebody else, but then you walk around with this block in your chest that you just don't want to hear anything from anybody ever because you just know it all already? You're doing such a disservice to yourself. You are not growing. If you already know all the things and you are not willing to go outside of your comfort zone at all, you're not willing to do the task at work that feel so below you and belittling to help the vision and support your team around you because you feel like, I'm just above all of this and I already know all this and I don't need to do all this and I should be paid more than this. If you are not growing, you are dying. I always say this thing about, it's not, in my experience, in any opportunity that I've gotten that becomes a really incredible opportunity for me, things that really speak to my heart's desire. It was not about the room that I walked in. It was about who I met in the room because I was there and because I was willing to be there and because my cup wasn't full. I've met so many amazing people and had so many incredible opportunities that just fulfill like these deep aches in my soul because I was willing to walk into a room and stay there in the discomfort, and then somebody shows up. Something happens or healing happens because I couldn't get out of the discomfort and I had to really deal with my own bullshit in order to expand and grow. When you have been through that, you see the world different. Everything is not a crisis at that point. Things that you don't like don't always need a big conversation and a big gossip session around it. You just kind of do what you have to do. So I'm going to leave you with that today. I hope this is helpful. I hope that if any part of this message speaks to you, you will just soak it up and hopefully your cup is not too full to take it. And I hope that you will really challenge yourself for your peace. I hope you will challenge yourself because you deserve your peace and you know there's this vision of who you should be and where you should be and how you should be. And although where you are is where you actually should be in this moment, it's the small shifts in our thinking and in our mindset that when we challenge ourselves, when we question our beliefs, when we question our thinking patterns, when we question who told me that and why do I feel that way, and we get right on that edge where we see, ooh, I'm going to have to do something hard and scary in order to really step into that next level of peace. That is a pivotal moment for you. It's the trust fall. If you've heard my zipline story, this is your zipline moment. I worked at a company that did addiction treatment, and I was a part of the corporate team, and we went to the facility, and a part of the therapy in the facility was to be able to go get on this zip line. It was like a huge thing for people that were going there for treatment. So I was there with our some of our leadership team and HR team and got to take part in the zip line. I had never zip lined before and got up to the top, was all harnessed in. I think I went first, asked who wanted to go first. I was like, me, because I don't want to sit around and like wait with the fear. And as I stood on the edge and looked off, I was excited and I was terrified, and it's like my brain and my body just weren't working together. The instructor who was behind me said, "Go, just jump off the edge and go." But I just couldn't go. Like, I wanted to go, but I just could not do it. But I had this resolve in me that I'm not going back down those stairs. You had every right to just like go back down the stairs all the way down to the bottom, take the gear off, take the harness off, and be done. But I knew I would regret this if I leave this place and I go back home, and I know everybody else did the zip line and I had the opportunity for this and I just didn't do it. I didn't take the risk for it. I was going to regret it. So I turned around to the instructor, since I couldn't get my own body to do it, and I said, "Will you just push me?" And he just started cracking up and he goes, "Sure, lean back." So as I leaned back, he pushed. And the next thing I know, I was off the edge, and it was exhilarating. It was this amazing moment of freedom, and the fear just went out the window. And even if there was some fear there in the beginning, it was like, there's this video of me. It's on like this really old like school phone, but I have the clip, and it pops up every once in a while in my little memories, where you can hear kind of like some chatter happening at the top of the platform. And then when you see me like go off the edge, I'm like halfway through the zip line, and then I just start screaming from like this place of like, "Fuck yeah, I'm doing it." And then once I hit the other platform, it was like, it's go time, baby. Let's go. Because now that I've taken that first leap, well, had somebody push me. So you got options. You got options when it comes to things like this. You can either jump, you can fall, or you can have somebody push you. And so whatever is happening in your life right now where you are like, I am not having peace and I feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere other than where I am right now, this is your wake-up call. This is you staring off the ledge of that platform to question your beliefs, to think about what is it that's making me feel this way. And sometimes it's so deeply hidden that you really just don't know who or what it is. Here's something that I use or have used in the past and still use. If I hang out with a person, when I leave them, do I feel better, neutral, or worse? Neutral, better, it's a go. Worse, not as great. Heavy, I'm done. I'm not doing it. I'm done. So use that the next time you're around people in your life. And it doesn't mean that like great people don't have heavy conversations because they have things going on in their lives. That will happen. But even so, how does my energy feel when I leave them? Because their issues are not my heavy issues. I can share the heaviness of a moment with a person and still walk away and feel light. But when somebody has ulterior motives or something's just off in their energy, or it's not even really like it's a bad thing about them, it's just not for you. It doesn't always have to be that they're an enemy and they did all these things. It's just, they're just not for you. And there's peace in that. How do I feel when I leave them? And I'll leave you with this last part of the story is that last year I spent some time really trying to connect with people in my new land. And there were a couple people that I met with that were really nice people. But I just did not feel peace being around them. And it was the first time in my life that I didn't need to have a reason, like an actual tangible reason for why I didn't want to talk to them anymore. I just didn't like the way my peace altered when I was around them. There was little confusing things in the way that they would go about connecting with me. And although I couldn't put like a flashing caution light around it, I felt it. And I've learned by being with that voice and with myself that if I feel a disruption to my peace, it's a no. You cannot give what you don't have. And I only have that because I've been willing to be alone. And I would way rather be alone than have the peace disrupted. And the reason why I have the peace and I'm able to give the peace to others is because I have jumped from that platform on that zip line or been pushed or fell so many times. Thank you so much for listening today, and I will talk to you later.